In news from Afghanistan, large crowds of people desperate to flee Afghanistan continued their wait at Kabul airport as military flights evacuating diplomats and civilians resumed early on Tuesday, days after the Taliban seized the capital. Earlier on Monday, US President Joe Biden said he stood squarely behind his decision to withdraw US troops from Afghanistan and rejected broad criticism of the chaotic withdrawal that is posing a crisis for him. Military flights evacuating diplomats and civilians from Afghanistan resumed early on Tuesday after the runway at Kabul airport was cleared of thousands of people desperate to flee after the Taliban seized the capital. Stefano Pontecorvo, NATO's civilian representative to Afghanistan, said on Twitter, "Runway in Kabul International Airport is open. I see airplanes landing and taking off." Under a US troops withdrawal pact struck last year, the Taliban agreed not to attack foreign forces as they leave. Flights were suspended for much of Monday when at least 5 people were killed, witnesses said, although it was unclear whether they had been shot or crushed in a stampede. Despite the scenes of bedlam in Kabul, US President Joe Biden defended his decision to withdraw US forces after 20 years of war, the nation's longest, that he described as costing more than $1 trillion.
I stand squarely behind my decision. After 20 years, I've learned the hard way that there was never a good time to withdraw US forces. That's why we're still there. We were clear-eyed about the risks. We planned for every contingency, but I always promised the American people that I will be straight with you. The truth is, this did unfold more quickly than we had anticipated.
The Taliban captured Afghanistan's biggest cities in days rather than the months predicted by US intelligence, in many cases after demoralized government forces surrendered despite years of training and equipping by the United States and others. Meanwhile, the UN Security Council called for talks to create a new government in Afghanistan after Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned of chilling curbs on human rights and violations against women and girls. Taliban spokesman Suhail Shaheen said the group would respect the rights of women and minorities as per Afghan norms and Islamic values. But many Afghans are skeptical and fear roundups of anti-Taliban politicians and activists.